Y'all see the title, man. Let's get to it.
There's been no prospect in the last 20 years that has received this amount of news coverage, this amount of publicity and hype since probably LeBron James. Victor Wembanyama's heavily anticipated arrival has finally come to fruition. Heck, the first round of the 2023 NBA Draft recorded an average of 4.9 million viewers, which was 33% higher than the 2003 class. The viewership peaked in the first 15 minutes when Wembanyama got drafted, at over 6 million viewers. It's just unfathomable how much everyone was looking forward to his arrival. With some workouts and summer league games under his belt, let's take a look at what we learned so far. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and without further ado, let's get down to the details. So, Wemby only appeared in 2 games in the summer league, but there's a lot to dissect. His second game was way better than his first, but let's first take a look at his first summer league game, and later I'll talk about his second game. And
I think they try to do good promo for my boy Wemby too, man. They copyrighted the game where he played bad at Obi, but they left the game where he played good up. That's some funny shit.
The adjustments the Spurs made. So, in his first game, unfortunately, Wemby kinda struggled. 2 for 13, and he got posterized by Kai Jones. It was kind of embarrassing, a hugely underwhelming debut, but I think we learned a lot from just his first game. There's so much to love, but there are also other parts that he still needs to work on, like all young players. For one, while he was renowned to be a 7'4" giant with guard-like handles and shooting skills, that's been kinda overstated. Yeah, sure, his handles are great, but they're great for a guy who's 7'4". You can tell his dribble is still very high due to his height, and he doesn't keep the ball close to his body. It'll make him kinda turnover prone. One of his comparisons prior to the draft was that he had the skills of a taller Kevin Durant. But that's kind of a stretch. The way he moves is kinda interesting. While he appears to be moving in slow motion, he's actually quite fast, and gets to his spot very quickly. Thanks to his abnormally long strides, it only takes a few steps for him to cover a large area. I guess he doesn't need to move that quickly because he's so long that he literally can just shoot over everybody, even other centers. However, the fluidity and smoothness of his game wasn't exactly as advertised, but hopefully it can improve. I want to go back to the Kevin Durant comparison though, because I feel like how we described Wemby prior to the draft was very similar to what we thought of Durant when he first came into the NBA. Due to Wemby's lanky frame and lack of strength, there have been plays where he struggles scoring against smaller, more physical defenders. It's a weakness that Durant himself struggled with for most of his career. This isn't exactly a surprise coming in. The scouting report on him listed this as one of his major weaknesses. In terms of defense, Wembanyama was expected to be very, very good. Just like with most tall centers, he's quite slow-footed on the perimeter. He got burned a few times, but this is normal. But he's a fantastic help defender, and that was displayed more clearly in his second summer league game. Another thing I noticed during his first game was the large majority of his shots were jumpers, and I mean long jumpers. I think he only attempted like 2 or 3 shots at the rim. I think it's mainly because he kept catching the ball so far away from the basket. There were opportunities where you can tell he wanted
And he even gets to practice with the team. He just came and played.
to drive past his defender
I heard in the post-game interview, he said he didn't even know what he was
and
doing.
attack. But instead,
No.
he pulls back for a
He's keeping it
3 or a long 2.
Maybe that's why the
There's
second
a
game,
certain
he
level
got
of
some practice. The
hesitancy
team
in his
came out
game when he
down.
drives. I think he's still at the stage where he's not sure if his ability to drive to the basket is at the NBA level yet. His first step isn't really even that fast, but it's long and covers so much distance to the point where he probably doesn't even need a quick first step to gain the advantage. Of course, there was no reason to panic after this lackluster performance. Plenty of superstars have struggled in Summer League. But for the spirit of this video, we're trying to take a look at every angle. In fact, the Spurs coaches liked what they saw. Their purpose is to let Wembanyama experiment, try out whatever he wants to do. He has the ultimate green light because everyone knows he's the future of this franchise. The Spurs coaching staff is carefully examining and studying Wemby's strengths and weaknesses, and they'll try to formulate a game plan for him to succeed. You know, I like this idea. I think this is the best method.
Yeah.
When you have a guy who's
great
deemed as the
franchise,
next
bro.
generational superstar, you have to give him time to experiment and do what he wants. Eventually, he's going to simplify his game and narrow down his skill set and find the best areas of the floor where he can flourish. Also, here's a cool photo I saw from a Reddit post a while back. This was during a game with his French team. His hook shot here, it's so freaking high. His release point is absurd, and the guy defending him,
You know what I'm saying?
he's 6'10".
That's what I'm saying, bro. I want to see more of that. Like, you could easily, well, you got to get a little stronger, but that's what it really is. You got to get a little stronger so he can, you know what I'm saying, hold his post. He has good post control, you know what I'm saying? Be able to hold himself, turn, you know what I'm saying? Give him that hook shot, boy. Like,
Yet he looks like a
easy.
midget next to him. There's no way this guy can even come close to blocking this. Wemby displayed his solid footwork and post moves back in France, so if this part of his game can translate to the NBA, he'll be unstoppable. Now, his second and final Summer League game this year has been much better. Oh, the Spurs made a lot of adjustments. The biggest visible difference is where he is on the floor. Instead of just throwing him the ball at the three-point line and watching him do something, he's now standing closer to the basket instead. He's catching the ball closer to the basket. He's receiving passes off a pick and roll. And he's one of just a handful of players in the world who can dominate by rolling or popping. With an unguardable shot and the longest wingspan and highest standing reach in the league, he's going to be a nightmare to guard in the pick and roll. And this second Summer League game, we saw flashes of what he could become. Now, I know a lot has been made about his handles and stuff like that, but if you're 7'4", you'll always have the advantage in the paint. So it's good that the Spurs realized this and said,
There
hey,
you go.
let's just put you
Impressive.
closer to the basket, because you can have an easier time
Impressive.
scoring.
Like, come on,
it's as simple
Wemby.
as that.
that's what we want to see, maybe.
We also got a
That's
glimpse
tough.
of his incredibly skilled footwork and quickness in the post.
That was tough.
Something that French fans saw all the time
Saying?
back when he was there.
Like, come on. More of that.
On top of this, we did see a few times where he found the open man and made a great pass. Plays like this, they're hard to teach. It's great that Wembanyama is a very unselfish player, and he has the IQ to read the defense and hit the open man. Like I said, this will be a very important aspect of his development moving forward. And the fact that he's smart and he knows how to make the right play, it's a great sign for things to come. Wemby is going to see a lot of double teams in the NBA, so he's got to get used to it. While he did take a lot fewer long jumpers, he should not eliminate them entirely. In the past, he's proven to be a great shooter before. And as I mentioned, every shot he takes is basically a wide open shot because of his length and high release. He barely sees the contest. As his career progresses, hopefully he can flesh out this part of his game. Now, I think the most crucial adjustment the Spurs made in the second game was on defense. The Spurs realized that his length alone makes him a phenomenal help defender. So in his second game, he was everywhere. Anytime the opponent got close to the basket, he was there to get a block, or a deflection, or a very strong contest. You know how Anthony Davis is one of those guys who's a much better help defender than a one-on-one defender? Well, I think Victor fits into a similar mold. I mean, the difference in height between Wemby and Davis is the same difference between Davis and a typical point guard. That's how big this guy is. As he gets more experience and as his defensive instincts improve over the course of his career, Wembanyama could arguably be the greatest help defender in NBA history. He has all the physical tools and the defensive instincts to do so. Plus, as he puts on more mass, he can stand his ground one-on-one against stronger centers. There's a real possibility that he can be an all-time defender. Overall, I was impressed. I've watched the NBA for a long time, and I've never seen this combination of coordination and fluidity in the body of a 7'4" player before.
Facts.
There have been plenty of players who were around his height, but there were always limitations in their games. For Victor, his ceiling is the frickin' moon. There's no telling how good this kid could be. And he caught a stroke of luck.
And yeah, he definitely, when he pushes that bull, bro, he moves at a very fast pace, not a fast pace, but like bro said, the long strides. He gets there so fast. He just got to learn how to really control his body. Once you learn how to get good body control, be able to change his pace. Things. Oh my God, if he gets that, it's over.
With the Spurs miraculously winning the lottery. Had he got drafted to another team, perhaps his development would go a lot differently. You never know.
That's the end of this one, y'all. We're going to end it right here. Y'all know what to do, man. If you enjoyed, share the video, like the video, comment, subscribe, click on the last reaction, and I'm out of here, man. Word.